All right, let's finish this. I'm ready for it to be over. Actually, that's a lie. I wish I had more ground to plant, but I don't. So it's gonna be over today anyhow. Kinda. I've got one of my landlords wants me to put in a deer plot for him, so that's probably gonna be the plan for a small project for this week, is to get that done. Originally, he wanted me to put in like turnips and radishes and kind of like a regular deer plot mix, but the other day he called me and mentioned that he would be okay with corn, which would make my life 10 times easier because I could just go over there, plow it, disc it, and plant it and be done with it, rather than having to work it down to powder so I could broadcast it like I would have to if it was a deer plot mix. Okay. So much easier than snap-on lids. You don't realize how nice these are until you go from, well, like my boss's deer, they got the snap-on lids, and you go to these where you just slide them off, and there you go. Which, no matter how many breakdowns I had this year, it could always be worse, because my boss pulled his 12-row in half last Friday. He was planting, and where can I set you? We can set you here. He's got a 7,000, which 7,000 12-row front fold, which, other than like the last 6-8 months of production, whatever it was, the John Deere 7000 was never a flex planter. It was just a rigid toolbar. Well, he paid the price for it. So he's in the market for a new 12-row. He ended up having to rent another tractor and planter to finish up corn. Just remember, no matter how bad of a day you're having, somebody's always having a worse one.
It's the sound of the gravel on a back road. It's a catfish pulling on a line. It's the screen door swinging on a front porch. It's the crickets chirping in the night. It's the sound of a tractor on a wheat field and a herd of horses running wild. It's a hammer pounding nails on an old red barn door. Right on time. Yeah! State of mind. Yeah, keep your feet up if you're down. Come on, won't you stay a while? It's the stomp on the metal of the bleachers and the buzz of them overtime lights. It's the sound of a drop-down tailgate park beside a midnight bonfire. And I can hear the preacher read the good word well them Sunday morning church bells chime. I can hear the neighbors every time they throw a banger on a Friday night. Yeah, that's the rhythm of a laid-back country state of mind. Stay a while. All you gotta do is feel the beat. Get into the groove, just roll with me tonight. Yeah, that's the rhythm of a laid-back country state of mind.
And there you have it. Plant 23 is done. Not gonna lie, I wish I had my 15 acres back. But, ah well, it is what it is. Actually, I wish I had like another 100 acres or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or, you know. As many as I could get would be nice. Unfortunately, getting them is the hard part. But what can you do about it? Such is life when your family didn't farm, so you have to start from scratch. But man, I tell you, I really hate planting around these telephone poles. I bet it takes 15-20 minutes just to make it pass down and back by the time you do all the dicking around, moving around and swapping markers and setting, picking up and moving around and setting back down. And it's just, they couldn't have at least stuck them on the property line so you didn't have to screw with it. Now we gotta run them right down the middle, or at least like make them go down the road. I don't get why they cut across country to cut across country. I don't even think it's power. I'm pretty sure it's telephone. So this day and age, they're probably not doing a damn thing, because who has a landline anymore besides businesses? And even that's getting fewer and further between. But there is one more thing we got to do before we wrap this video up. I forgot to bring my measuring wheel with me, but we'll bring it. I'm going to run the tractor home, and when I have Dad bring me back to get my pickup. That field, the bigger field down there, is for all intents and purposes, if you take the house out, a long rectangle and a short rectangle, so it should be fairly easy to figure out the area of that field down there. And we can do that and figure out how close the monitor is to reality. So I'm gonna get folded up here, run the tractor back, and we'll do that real quick, and then we'll wrap things up here. All right, see how well this works out. I gotta say, all in all, this wasn't a bad year, or a bad spring, other than, you know, it'd be nice to have rain. But as far as like breakdown and stuff, I had 2 flat tires, which you can pretty much just chalk that up to shit happens. And then the pump on the 150, which I probably that one, I mean, you gotta count it, but that was one of them deals where it didn't need to happen. That was somebody's poor shop practices in the past that caused that. But other than that, really didn't have any bad screw ups as far as breakdowns go. And then this is the first year since I've got out of college and been working that I have not had to take a day off of work to get planning done. As a matter of fact, there was a few days that I worked over at work to help keep my boss going. And then this is the first year that I didn't have any help, other than obviously getting rides moving equipment, because you can't really do without that. You ain't gonna walk. So yeah, and it's the most ground I ever farmed on top of it so far to date. So I covered more acres in less time by myself with fewer breakdowns. Because last year, I guess I wouldn't necessarily say less time, because last year I started on the 13th, and I think I finished up planting on the 4th or 5th of June, which I could have been done sooner, but it took me a couple days because that was when I was planting that field that I took all the trees off of, and I'd work it and then pick up all the crap off of it, and then work it and then pick up all the crap off of it. So that last field took a couple days. But this year I started planting on the 9th, and today is Memorial Day, the 29th. So I'm basically right in line with last year for the most part. So yeah, all in all, other than now that everything's in the ground, it'd be really nice to give it some water. Can't complain too much. But I'm gonna hurry up and get this measured real quick, and then we will get you guys to wrap everything up here. Well, I guess I don't know what to think about it, because you run the perimeter with a wheel and add everything up and you get 11.5 acres. Monitor says 12.9, and you do a satellite map of it, you get about 13. So I guess I'm gonna have to see if I can find an app for my phone where I can actually walk the perimeter and drop points and see if I can measure it that way, and that would give me something more accurate, because at this point I'm still up in the air as to just how accurate that monitor is, but we'll figure it out. So anyhow, I think I'm gonna call it a day. So that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.